Number 45, we have a circle. They tell us that between any two adjacent points, the distance between any two adjacent points is equal. That means all six of these segments would be the same. They'd all have a central angle here. If you took all the way around the circle, which is 360, and divided by 6, they'd all have a central angle of 60. Um, and we know that the diameter is 9/2 inches, so 4.5 for a diameter, and they want the length of this chord. I did some searching for a formula for length of a chord, and there's some instructions here. We can look how does this affect the length of the chord. But if we have, here's a formula, if we're given the radius and a central angle, which is what we have here, it's 2 times r, where's the radius, times the sine of c over 2. So in this particular case, that'd be, the chord length would be 2 times the radius. Now if the diameter is 4.5, 9/2, that's the diameter. So if I took half of that, that'd be the radius. So the radius of this circle is 2.25. So 2 times 2.25 times the sine of, it said the sine of c over 2, where c is the central angle. And we looked over here, this central angle here would have to be 60 because there's 6 of them and it's 360 all the way around. So the sine of 60 over 2. So we're going to try that and see if that gives us the length of that chord. So 2, well, first of all, let me make sure I'm in degree mode, and I am because I was yesterday. So 2 times 2.25, 25, come on, times the sine of 60 divided by 2, or you could put 30 in here if you wanted to. And I get that the length of that chord is 2.25. So over here, my answer should be B, 9/4. That's 2.25. So that's your answer to 45. All right, moving on to 46. Whenever a squared b equals 1 for positive values of a and b, which of the following equations gives a in terms of b? And whenever we see this gives a in terms of b, just means solve for a. So if I have a squared times b equals 1, go to a clean screen, a squared times b is equal to 1, and I want to solve for a, so I'm going to divide by b on both sides. And they say it uses positive values because you wouldn't want to have there's no way you could square something and get a negative, so that's right. And so if we're going to solve here for a, I'm going to square root both sides, and I get a is equal to the square root of 1 over b. So that's the square root of 1 over the square root of b. The square root of 1 is 1, so it should be a equals 1 over the square root of b. So my answer is K. All right, 47, the slope of the line L in standard xy coordinate plane is 2/3. Which of the following is an equation of a line that is perpendicular to line L? If you remember, perpendicular lines have slopes that are opposite reciprocals. So I'm looking for a line that has a slope of -3/2. If this is 2/3, to be perpendicular to that, I'd need a slope of -3/2. So I'm looking at my choices. 3x plus 2y equals 5. Let me write that one down. That's A. 3x plus 2y equals 5. Remember, to find the slope, you solve for y. So subtract 3x and divide by 2. This has a slope of -3/2. What am I looking at? That's what I'm looking for. If I did b and solve for y, I'd get +3/2, because it'd be a -3 divided by -2, which would be a positive. Here it'd be -2/3. Here it'd be +2/3. And here it'd be +2/3. My answer is going to have to be B. That's the only one that has a slope of -3/2. All right, 48. Given that x and 7 minus x are integers, which of the following statements about x must be true? Does x have to be odd, even, prime, positive, or negative? So if this is going to be an integer, let's see. Let's find something that, this being an integer, x being an integer is not a big deal, but 7 minus x divided by 2 being an integer is a big deal. What's something that x could be? What if it was 4? 7 minus 4 is 3 divided by 2. That's not an integer. Remember, an integer is like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and -1, -2. No decimals, no fractions. What if x was 5? 7 minus 5 is 2, divided by 2 is 1, which is an integer. So 5 works. 5 is odd. G is out because it's not even. 5 is prime. 5 is positive. And K is out because 5 is not negative. So not even, not negative. Let's try something else. Let's do, see if we can find something that's maybe not a prime number. How about 1? 1 is not prime. 7 minus 1 is 6, divided by 2 is 3. So prime's out. What about a negative number like -1? 7 minus -1 is 8, divided by 2. So it didn't have to be positive, didn't have to be prime, didn't have to be even, didn't have to be negative. It had to be F, that X has to be odd. All right, 49. We've got baby laugh dolls, and the number of dolls in 1 year depends on the price that he sells them for. This is the equation that gives a relationship between the X, which is the money collected from, X is how many dolls they sold, and this is how much money they collected. So to figure out how much where is the highest point, where's the maximum revenue, we want to do the dolls times the price. So in that case, when you start looking at it, I did this on the calculator and took a look at it. All right, so when I took a look at this, I saw that they were making 52 minus 2p, where p is how much per doll, and then they were going to sell X dolls. So what if we did 52 minus 2p times X to look at how much money they would make? And if you start scrolling down through here, you'll find their most amount of money comes about when X is, see, it's going up till it's 13, and then it starts going back down. So $13, that would be, and then they'd sell those 13 dolls. So I think that the answer is A, $13. That seems to be the high point on the graph, and we could graph it and look at it that way too. All right, 50. A geometric sequence happens when you multiply something to get the next number. So they give us the first 3 terms, which are 4, 6, and 9. They want me to find the 4th term. So it's got to be times something. So if you can't figure out what you multiply times to get the next number, if you'll do 6 divided by 4, go to a regular screen here, 6 divided by 4, I get 1.5. So basically, if I keep multiplying by 1.5, so here, 4 times 1.5 gives me 6. 6 times 1.5 gives me 9. 9 times 1.5 would give me my next number. So watch this. 4 times 1.5 gives me 6. 6 times 1.5 gives me 9. And then 9 times 1.5 gives me oops, I did divide it. 9 times 1.5 will give me my 4th term in this sequence. And I get 13.5, and that would be my answer. See if I can do, these next 3 are about something different. So I'm going to go ahead and end this video and pick up on the next one.